Are you ready for a super quick meal? Well, let's get started, and as I'm doing it, I'll tell you all the things that are in it and all the ways that you can make a variation to make it work for you. So we have a pound of hamburger, but you could use ground turkey, ground bison, ground chicken, ground lamb, and we just want to get it browned. So we've got it on about medium. Now I did spray it with a little bit of oil because we're also going to be adding eggs and cheese, and it could stick to the pan if you didn't have a little bit of oil. This is 80-20 meat, but again, you can pick the ground meat that works for you. Now, you could chop up an onion if you want to. I'm not doing that for us right now. We're just going to do the seasoning. So I'm just going to sprinkle just a little bit of onion powder to your taste, and then a little bit of garlic powder. I made this for friends last week, and they ate every single bite and thought it was amazing. We had a pound, we used 4 eggs for 2 people, and there wasn't one single bite left over. Now,
what is that?
This is Lakeshore Drive from the Spice House, which we use. It's an all-purpose seasoning.
Thespicehouse.com.
Thespicehouse.com. And we're going to put a little bit of salt because really none of that has much salt. Not a whole lot, just a little bit because you can always add more. So we pretty much have this getting browned. And then we're going to add something to make it more of a little bit more like a soup consistency. We're going to add some bone broth. Now, you could make your own bone broth. You can buy it in the store, although we found that even some of the best bone broths in the grocery store, health food store, if you read the ingredients, there's lots of extra stuff in it. So this is pure bone broth from our local butcher shops. No seasoning, so you have total control. Or you could make it yourself. So just a little bit less than a cup. We're going to put that in there. And we're going to let it melt down into the meat. This is beef broth, and you could use beef broth on, whatever ground meat you're using. If you do okay with chicken broth and chicken, that's okay. Now, what we're going to do is, yes, Forrest?
If they have a lot of water cooking down the meat, should they drain that or just leave it in there and mix it with the bean broth?
If you'd had a lot of oil, you could remove that, but I didn't have really that much. And it's actually the good fat from the meat. So for us, that's okay. If you want to drain the fat off, you could. And then we're going to have the bone broth, and then we're going to put a lid on it, and we're going to let it simmer maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so. And then we're going to come back and add the rest of it, and then dinner will be ready, and you can enjoy watching us try it. Okay. It's been simmering, and Forrest was looking at it, and he said, well, there's just a little bit of oil. So you have a couple of choices. The first time I made it, the extra oil that came from the meat, because it was 80-20, 80% meat and 20% fat, I drained off the oil. However, after I added the eggs and the cheese, it was really had this wonderful crunchy stuff in the bottom of the pan that was hard to get out and you couldn't eat it. So we're going to see what it's like when we don't drain that off. And now we're going to turn the heat down just a little bit, and we're going to attempt to make some little hollows in the meat. And then we're going to put eggs that have been at room temperature and put it right there. We're going to do 4 of them. Now you could almost this time put in 5 eggs if we wanted to. Oh, that yolk broke a little bit, but that's okay. So we've got 4 eggs like this. And then we're going to add, this is Manchego cheese that's been grated. We're just going to sprinkle some on top, however much you want. And if you wanted it dairy-free, you could do that. I wouldn't recommend the alternative cheeses because most people, even that can't do regular dairy, can do Manchego because it's a sheep cheese. Okay, so we've got our cheese on there. We're going to put the lid back on and let it cook so the eggs get to just the temperature you want, whether you want soft, medium, or hard. And then we'll do the awesome job of taking it out and serving it. So this is the next big step, just letting it simmer until we come back and see the finished product. Are you ready? Okay, we're going to take the lid off. Now I've checked it a couple of times, so the lid's been on and off and on and off. And I think next time I would drain a little bit more of the oil off because I took a little bit off. I did take a paper towel and take off a little bit of the oil that was around here. And I took this to see if the eggs are soft because I like mine soft. But this one's pretty much well done, but that was the one that cracked. This one's looking pretty good. So now we get to see if we can move it to the plate because everything is cooked. So we're going to separate it just a little bit. And when it gets crusty on the bottom, that part is absolutely awesome. So we're going to take and get our spatula underneath it. We're going to get it over on our plate. Put a little bit more meat beside it to finish it off. Now, if you wanted a little bit of pepper, remember we don't use black pepper. We're using green peppercorns from thespicehouse.com that we have ground. We're just going to sprinkle a little bit on here. And then we're going to add sour cream, totally optional. Now I shouldn't have done this one because I like a soft egg. However, that's okay. So, now, dinner is served. It was very easy. Now let's say you have more than 2 or 3 people that you're serving. What you could do is you could do 2 pounds of meat, probably a cup and a half, cup and 3/4 of broth. Do your seasoning or put an onion, do it in there, and then put it in a 9x13, make hollows, put the eggs, put the cheese on top, put it in the oven, and you have a great big meal for lots of people. So, are you ready for the taste test? So we're going to take a little bit of the egg, because it's still probably pretty hot, and a little bit of hamburger with the seasoning and the cheese, and we're going to taste it right now. Thumbs up. Super easy. So this could easily, what was interesting is I did this last week for 2 people. They each took half, they ate all of it. But normally I would say this could feed anywhere from 2, 3, 4 people. Adjust it, make it work for you. It's easy. And you know what? It was carnivore too.